and 529s, like it's a college saving account. Like that's the purpose of those plans. So let's dig into, we're really going to kind of start talking about the basics, kind of why people should use this. But just talk us through some of the benefits of using that 529 college savings plan.
Yeah. The real reason why it's an attractive thing is, depending on the state, most states have this, but if you put money into it, you will get a state income tax deduction.
Yep.
So here in Illinois, you get $10,000 per parent. So if it's a married couple, they get $20,000. Almost 5% income tax rate. You're talking just under $1,000 you save on taxes.
Yep.
So, I mean, not huge money, but something.
Yep.
But once the money is in there, it can grow in the investment accounts that you have it in, grows tax-free. And when you pull that money out to pay for what they call qualified educational expenses, which is basically, everything you would ever pay for going to college. We always refer to it as a 529 college savings plan, but there have been law changes in the last 4 years where you can use that money, some of that money, for anywhere from like kindergarten all the way through 12th grade.
Yep.
So it's not just for college anymore. When you take money out, you don't pay any taxes on it. So really it is kind of like, tax deduction, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals.
Yeah.
It does, if you're in a higher income bracket, it will save you a lot of money to kind of save for college through a 529.
Yeah. And I mean, when you really think about it, if the purpose is for college funding, they're really incentivizing you to use it for that and giving you incentives to do so. So that makes absolute sense. So I guess some of the biggest reasons that people should use a 529, I guess parents should use a 529. What would you say there?
Yeah. I mean, the tax benefits, obviously, but 529s are extremely flexible as well. And this is where, I think a lot of parents get hung up on, if we put a lot of money in and junior doesn't want to go to college, because, any of us who are parents, you don't know. You think they'll go to college, but maybe they won't. And people get nervous about that. They're like, well, is this money going to get stuck? What if they get scholarships and then we saved all this money that they don't need? You have total flexibility to be able to change the beneficiary on that. So if your oldest doesn't go to college for whatever reason and you have, a middle child who's really ambitious and all that, you can just change the name on the 529 to your next child and it's money for them to use. So you have a lot of flexibility and, getting into kind of the long-term planning of being not only parents, but future grandparents as well. This is really good. Kind of getting money trapped in a 529 isn't the end of the world if it's your heart desire to maybe help your future grandkids, because you can always, whenever they're born someday, you can always change the name to one of them and instantly they have money kind of there and ready to go for when they go to college. Yeah.
So I know you mentioned the annual, that annual tax benefit that people can get. So if they put in here in Illinois, that's up to $10,000 per person.
Yep.
Can they also, can they only do that every year? Could they make a one-time, I guess, lump sum amount into that?
So there's no limit on how much you can put into a 529 in any given year. So you can, if you want to put in $1 million, you could put in $1 million. The thing is, if you go over the annual gift tax limit, you're not going to pay gift taxes, but you're going to have to fill out a form saying we gave our son or grandson more than we should have or more than was allowed this year to be tax-free. And maybe down the line that becomes kind of a tax issue. But so that for this year, 2024, you can give up to $18,000 to a child and not have to worry about filling out that gift tax form. But there is actually one quirky rule with 529s where if you wanted to bunch 5 years worth of gifts in 1 year, you can do that and you don't have to worry about the gift tax. You can't give for the next 5 years, but you can do 5 years worth at once, and that would be $90,000 for a single parent or $180,000 in one shot if you're a married couple. So, that would probably be excessive, to be honest, but you could do that and not have to worry about any sort of gift tax problems.
Yeah, and that could be for the person, that could be for the parent or the grandparent who has, maybe they're getting close to some of these estate planning or these estate exemption amounts. And so they're saying, I need to start moving money out of my estate. And so they do want to do a lump sum. That could be, for those reasons that you start that. Or maybe you have like several kids that you're going to be putting through college or grandkids. And so you just know you can change that account to be for whatever beneficiary. So there definitely are reasons why people would.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's probably like we see those less more than more. So
yeah. Worst case scenario, you overfund a 529 and you don't want to use it for another child or future grandchild. You pull the money out. You're going to pay taxes on your investment gains and a 10% penalty. So it's not great, but it's not like you've lost that money either.
Yeah.
So, we definitely like that people emphasize the 529 as their college savings vehicle versus a taxable account or these uniform gift for minor accounts.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can also be, I think some people, we overlook, like we kind of think of like the young kids who are coming up. But if you wanted to go back to school, and I mean, that's not unheard of. A lot of people are like, hey, at this age, I know what I want to do. And so they may want to go back to school or take some classes. And so you can even use it for yourself. This is one of the new rules for like with 529s is that you can actually fund a Roth IRA from the 529. So walk us through kind of what needs to be done there and what that is.
Yeah. So this was a really interesting new kind of feature that they gave to the 529s with a tax law change a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, is they will actually now allow you to use unused 529 funds to open a Roth IRA for your child, and then you can use money from the 529 and just put it right into the Roth IRA. So we've had a lot of people reach out to us about it, and it's like, oh, wow, this is really great and all that. It is, but the rules around it are kind of convoluted. The first being that the 529, before you can initiate a transfer to a Roth, it has to have been open for 15 years. Okay. So unless you open this 15 years ago or more, you're going to have to wait. If you're just opening a Roth, or not a Roth, a 529 today, you would have to wait 15 years before you'd be able to move money into a Roth. So that's kind of, the sticking point number one. The other is they have a maximum amount that you can transfer over, like they call it a lifetime limit for the child. So the maximum you can eventually move from the 529 to a Roth is $35,000. And the other wrinkle with that is you can only do that, you can only contribute up to the annual limit each year. So 2024, any one of us, assuming our income isn't too high, can put $7,000 into a Roth. So if you're thinking like, okay, I can eventually put $35,000 in, but if I'm limited to put $7,000 in per year, it will take me 5 years to actually do that. So it's a really interesting thing. It's another way to, I guess, leave a legacy for your kids beyond just paying for their school. Getting them set up with a Roth is a great, great thing, but there are some convoluted rules that go along with that.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting, and it's also helpful for someone who maybe didn't intend to overfund it, doesn't have anyone else that they could see using these funds. You can do something with them. You can move them out of the 529 still to benefit your child. So that is nice that it's kind of like an additional feature for that purpose, I guess. So that's helpful. Okay, so that's helpful to understand really the 529 and a lot of the benefits for it.